Elite Facts presents
7 classic action films that defined the 1980s.
7.
Bloodsport. Hey, we've got to have a martial arts film somewhere on this list. Technically, Karate Kid is the better kung fu film if we're talking about story, but we're not here for that. We want action, blood, and cheesy one-liners. Bloodsport's got them all. The film stars Jean-Claude Van Damme as Frank Dukes. Though it's spelt D-U-X, the last name is pronounced Dukes, as in put up your dukes, an actual quote from the film. He's an American mixed martial artist who decides to leave the military and fight in the To the Death tournament in Hong Kong. The reason for his decision to drop out and join the tournament is caused by the death of his surrogate father and sensei. Soon after hearing about the death, Frank is informed of a mysterious, no-holds-barred, highly illegal martial arts tournament in Hong Kong, known only as the Kumite. At the bidding of his sensei and against direct orders from his military superiors, Frank travels to Hong Kong to participate and uphold his master's honor. In order to succeed, not only will he have to win the tournament, he must also evade capture by 2 military police sent to arrest him, and the prying questions of a nosy reporter eager for a story. This film is essentially the Mortal Kombat movie, before we got an actual Mortal Kombat movie, which actually sucked. But still, this film is awesome.
6.
Mad Max 2: The Road Warrior. Out of all the films on this list, this one may be our personal favorite, although that shouldn't take anything away from the other films on this list. The film strays drastically away from the first film as it takes a more post-apocalyptic approach to the franchise, while still maintaining the fast-paced action. The story follows Max Rokitansky, a former police officer who's now a lone wanderer traveling through a devastated Australia after a nuclear war, looking for now priceless petrol. Still dealing with the loss of his wife and child from the previous film, he lives to survive and is none too pleased when he finds himself the only hope of a small group of honest people running a remote oil refinery. He must protect them from the biker gang that's terrorizing them, while transporting their entire fuel supply to safety. Before the release of Fury Road, this film was the ultimate chase film.
5.
Aliens. Much like Mad Max 2, Aliens decided to stray away from the first film. However, unlike what Mad Max did with changing the scenery and time period up, well, technically they do change the time period of this film, however, it doesn't look much different from the previous film. Aliens decides to ditch the whole slasher horror film approach and go for a more action-oriented type of film. And you know what? It works like a charm. Set in the year 2179, 57 years after the original Alien from 1979, Ellen Ripley is rescued by a deep salvage team during her hypersleep. After transmissions from a colony that has since settled on the alien moon suddenly stop, the colony is owned by Weyland-Yutani, Ripley is offered a chance to team up with a group of Marines to descend on the moon and investigate the alien presence. Ripley agrees to the offer and prepares to face the alien creature once again, with the backup of a team of colonial Marines, along with an android named Bishop. But this time, there's more than one alien. This is one of the rare instances where the sequel is on par, if not better than, the original film. It's just a shame we can't say the same for Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection.
4.
Big Trouble in Little China. Big Trouble in Little China is just downright insane. If we were to sum it up, this film is more or less The Evil Dead, but on crack. John Carpenter has shown time and time again that he's one of the best writers and directors out there, as he can easily adapt to different styles and genres when it comes to creating a new film. In this film, Carpenter manages to masterfully blend action, fantasy, and martial arts into one ridiculous yet amazing film. The plot of the film follows an all-American trucker by the name of Jack Burton, played by Kurt Russell, who wins a card game against his longtime friend Wang. Wang explains that he doesn't have Jack's earnings on him and that he'll pay Jack later due to the fact that he has to pick up his girlfriend at the airport. Seeing as how Jack wants his money as soon as possible, he offers to give Wang a ride to the airport. Unfortunately for both of them, Wang's girlfriend is kidnapped due to the fact that she's a Chinese woman with green eyes, and in order for an immortal creature named David Lopan to turn back into a mortal human, he must marry her. Now it's up to Jack Burton, Wang, and their friends to save her before it's too late. Okay, we know this sounds like a lot is going on, but trust us when we say that this film is just pure madness. It's amazing.
3,
First Blood. Okay, how could we talk about action films without mentioning First Blood? Or you may just know it as Rambo. Well, we can't call it that either because of the fourth film in the franchise and the upcoming remake. What the hell is up with the titles of the films in this franchise? I mean, come on. You've got First Blood, then it's Rambo First Blood Part 2, then you have Rambo 3, followed by just plain Rambo. Again, it doesn't help that we're getting a remake soon that's also just going to be called Rambo. Who the hell named these films? Alright, rant over. First Blood Part 1 is what we're talking about here, and it's just awesome. Sylvester Stallone stars as John Rambo, a seemingly homeless Vietnam War veteran who's traveling around the country trying to find his old army friends when he ends up in Hope, Washington. While traveling through the town, the sheriff stops him, mistaking him for a vagrant, and tries to make him leave town. When Rambo refuses, he's arrested for vagrancy. While Rambo is being processed in the town jail, a deputy takes delight in abusing him, causing him to have flashbacks to the war and freak out. Rambo escapes, showing his old Vietnam fighting skills, and takes off into the woods, with the sheriff and his deputies in pursuit, trying to find him in his element. Things get out of hand, and Colonel Troutman, Rambo's old commander, appears to shed light on the situation. This film is absolutely brutal and gives us a shocking insight into what people who suffer with post-traumatic stress disorder go through. Maybe not to the extent that Rambo goes to, obviously, but still, it's shocking.
2,
Predator. If it bleeds, we can kill it. This film is the literal definition of the 1980s action film. Predator was released back in 1987 and has easily cemented its place in cinematic pop culture history. The Predator character is considered to be one of the greatest horror icons of the 1980s, along with the likes of Jason, Freddy Krueger, Pinhead, and its eventual rival, the Xenomorph. That's not all. This film features an all-star cast of 80s action stars, including Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, and for some strange yet awesome reason, WWF wrestler Jesse the Body Ventura, who gets one of the best one-liners in the entire film. I ain't got time to bleed. This film revolves around Dutch, played by Schwarzenegger, and his group of commandos who are hired by the CIA to rescue some downed airmen from some nefarious guerrillas in a Central American jungle. The mission goes well for the most part, despite it not being what they thought it was, but as they return, they find that something is hunting them. Nearly invisible, it blends in with the jungle surroundings, picking off the commando squad one by one and taking trophies from the bodies of its victims as it goes along. Occasionally, we're able to see things through its eyes, and we discover that it is an intelligent alien hunter, hunting Arnold and his crew for sport, killing them off one at a time. Needless to say, it's quite entertaining seeing Arnold go head-to-head with something that's more dangerous than he is, and you didn't see that very often in the 1980s. Get to the chopper!
1,
Die Hard. Now, why is Die Hard so high up on this list? Well, first off, this list isn't really in any particular order to begin with. Secondly, this film is an action movie that set the mold for countless films that followed and stole its basic formula. It stars Bruce Willis as an everyday tough New York City cop by the name of John McClane. The part Willis plays has a real sense of believability to it, given the character's experience being limited to on-the-beat police work and not having any experience in counter-terrorist work. It's just a situation in which the main character is in the wrong place at the wrong time, and as we mentioned, it was a formula used by countless movies that followed. Die Hard on a bus, anybody? In the film, John McClane finds himself in a tight situation when an office building in Los Angeles is taken over by terrorists. Apart from himself, everyone else in the building, including his wife, is held at gunpoint while their captors spell out their demands. The FBI is called in to survey the situation, but John McClane decides that he must take matters into his own hands and take care of the terrorists himself. This film is just fantastic. Well, that's our list. We may have to come back and do a part 2, as there are so many films that we simply couldn't fit on this list, like Lethal Weapon, The Terminator, and Escape from New York, just to name a few. But please tell us in the comments below what 1980s action films you remember fondly. That, or tell us your favorite one-liner from an action film in the comments below. And that's it. Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.